Well, England won again. They've won the T20 series. They won the first two matches. We must celebrate that. We must celebrate Peter Christian too, because they're the best man in town, the best dressed man in town, I should say. So cheers all round. Get your orders in for Peter Christian. They'll come back to you with a discount, and we'll all, not just the England cricket team, but we'll all be happy. Now let's look at the cricket. It was Brook again. What a few days it's been for him. Brook is brilliant, Brook is belligerent, and Brook is bonkers. He's brilliant and belligerent on the field of play. He's bonkers off it, but we'll deal with that later. When he came in this evening, England was stuttering. They had quite a target ahead of them. He hit 36 runs in no time at all, including 4 sixes and 2 fours. It was an absolutely brilliant innings, and it set up the victory, which Tom Banton, with a marvellous 50, the only 50 of the day, he saw England home. Anyway, let's go back to the start. Brook won the toss again. He's very good, isn't he? I don't know what he does to persuade the opposing captain to spin the coin right for him. But anyway, having won the toss, he predictably put Sri Lanka in. But what happened then wasn't entirely predictable. The quick bowlers, again, didn't get it right. Curran went for 31 in his first 2 overs. He went for 35 in the first match, you may remember. Archer, in his first over, was hit for 21, including a couple of sixes. And although he got Nissanka in his second over, he bowled him. I felt Archer was sort of somehow not really with it today until, in fact, in his the last over he bowled, his third over, it was Banton who dropped a catch at deep mid-wicket, and that seemed to make Archer angry, and he quickened his pace from then, and we bowled a good over at the end. Anyway, the Sri Lankans got off to a good start. Nissanka, Mashara, and then Mendes all made runs, and so did Ratnayaka, who got the highest score of the innings, 40, going in 4. But there was no real partnership. And although they did well at the start particularly, but then the England spinners came on and slowed it all up, just as they had done in the first match, although this time they didn't go through the middle order in quite the same way. But Will Jacks took 1 for 24 in his 4 overs. Rashid, with his leg breaks, took 1 for 25 in his 4. And Liam Dawson took 1 for 31 in his 4. And I think he took 1 for 32, actually. So they bowled very, very well. And having been held up by the spinners, Sri Lanka never really got the pace back again, and their final tally of 189 for 5 was just a little bit disappointing. But there we were. And anyway, England went in. They lost Phil Salt in the first over. He tried to steer a slower ball from Patharana. He reached for it and tried to steer it wide of Gully. And in fact, gave Gully a very tame catch. He was out for 1. And then in came Bethel, who hit a couple of good 4s, but again didn't really look in sorts, if you see what I mean. And he got himself out for 13. Really a little bit of a disappointing innings from him. But Butler was going very well indeed. And then it began to rain. And England were 57 for 2. And it was, they were getting behind the clock a bit. And it didn't look as though it was going to be completely plain sailing. There was enough rain for the umpires to take 3 overs off England's ration of 20. And the final equation was, instead of having to get 190 in 20 overs, they had to get, 168 in 17 overs. And when they started off again, Butler and Banton started off at the rate of knots. And then Butler went for 39, but the first thing that happened was the first ball after the resumption, Malinga bowled, and his first ball he bowled, he ran in, bowled it, it was a no ball, and he fell down in the middle of the pitch and he followed through, and he'd obviously dislocated the shoulder and had to be helped off. And it was a sad end, and at the end, Sri Lanka they had to use a part-time bowler at the very end. Leonaga bowled the last over, but by then the match was all over. But when Butler got out, Brook came in, and Brook was absolutely amazing. He hit 4 sixes. I mean, Patharana was quite quick, nippy. I mean, he's up there 146, 148 kilometers an hour. And yet Brook was just making room and hitting him over extra cover for 6, over cover for another 6. And then after 2 successive sixes, he tried to sweep, lift him over his shoulder, got under it, and it skied up. And Hasaranga took a very good catch running back from from fly slip where he was fielding. But that brought in... I'm trying to think who came in when Brook was out. Banton then was joined by Curran. That was right. Curran came in and batted extremely well, and Banton was magnificent. He hit 3 4s and 3 sixes and 4 4s. It was all tremendous stuff. And it was his first 50 in T20 international cricket for 4 years. And on this form, he's an absolute must for the World Cup. And I think Duckett, who didn't play today and didn't play in the first match either, I think Duckett will be jolly hard pressed to get a place in the side with Banton in this sort of form. He looks to me to be coming absolutely to the boil at the right moment, even though he dropped a naughty catch out in the deep of Archer. Deep mid-wicket, he should have hung on to that one, but we'll forgive him that. He batted magnificent. And then Curran in the end, in the last over, when just 3 runs were needed, there were 3 dot balls, then he pulled the 4th ball massively away to mid-wicket for 6. And England had won, and they're 2-0 ahead in the series with 1 match to come. So it was a great day. Now, the other thing about poor old Brook is the balmy, the bonkers side of him. Well, we've seen that in his mea culpa, saying what a naughty boy I was going out for that drink in Wellington the night before the One Day International, before the Ashes tour, when they were in New Zealand playing ODI cricket, and he had an altercation with a nightclub bouncer. He had said that he was on his own, and it has subsequently transpired there were 2 players with him, Jacob Bethel and Josh Tongue. And oh dear, the whole thing has blown open again, and I think the people who've been really guilty in this are the people in charge of the ECB, because I feel that this could have been dealt with there and then at the time in New Zealand. Maybe they were frightened of what the Australian press would have made of it, but this is lingering on. And is Brook really, sorry about my cough, is Brook fit to be captain of England? Well, of course, he's a wonderful player, but quite honestly, you cannot have a captain of England prepared to behave quite like this off the field. They've got a big decision. Well, they're going to take it away from him for a year or 2 and then hope that he'll come good again. I think that may be the best answer. If he gets away with it, well, who knows? And then has something to celebrate, or indeed something to to cry for, if you see what I mean. Maybe it could happen again. Anyway, that sadly is the other side of Brook, and we're going to read a lot about it in the future, in the immediate future. And of course, again, Brendan McCullum, he's another one. He's going to be pleased that England have won these competitions, these matches in Sri Lanka, but his own position, as Brook is under attack for all this drinking and everywhere, the finger's going to be pointed again at McCullum for running too loose a ship. So all that's for the future. Meantime, let's celebrate. England have won, and Peter Christian are going to celebrate too. They're going to sell masses of these splendid gentlemen's smoking jackets, aren't they, really? Smoking hats, I should say, and all these lovely cord trousers and everything else. So get your orders in, and they'll come back to you with, I know, a massive, lovely discount.